Finally uploading this Amsterdam vlog from my study abroad trip. I went to Amsterdam in February 20th and it was really cold, but it was also a super amazing experience and something that I never thought I would be able to do in my life. So I just want to share with this since I have nothing to do at home and just waste some time. During my study abroad trip, I actually went to Amsterdam twice because I loved it so much, because it was so beautiful. Even though it was so cold, I felt like I needed to go back. Just for one weekend there, you definitely have enough time to do most of the things you want to do and sightsee, explore everything, and get the full-on Amsterdam experience. I only decided to go back because I loved it so much and it was so cheap to do so. And I'll start talking about transportation. So my friend Sharon and I took a bus from Paris to Amsterdam because it was actually way cheaper, and it was only around 54 euros round trip, so maybe like almost $60. And we left Paris at around 11:30 p.m. and we got to Amsterdam around 6, almost 7 a.m. So as soon as we got there, it was still like the sun had not come out. It was so cold. We just got unlucky, and the weekend that we picked to go, it was so cold, it was windy, and it was rainy. But I really hope that you can take this video, take all my tips I'm about to give you, and not go during February or January or probably even March. Since we slept on the bus, we ended up getting ready at a hostel we were gonna stay at, but our reservation wasn't until 3 p.m. so we kind of loitered there for a while. We were just like brushed our teeth, washed our faces, got full on ready, so we definitely wasted time there. It's because I said it was really early. The name of the hostel was Amstel Hostel in Amsterdam. They have 2 locations there, but the main location we went to get ready was right there next to the bus stop, so that's really convenient. So after we were finally ready, we bought our own transportation tickets there. One thing you really have to consider before going anywhere you're not familiar with is how you're gonna transport around the city. Most of the time, these European cities do have transportation tickets for tourists. So for example, in Amsterdam, we got a 72-hour ticket for about, I think it was like 19 euros. So it's not super expensive, but I have been in other cities in Europe where it was really expensive, like London. So once we got that, we headed over to the metro station. It's one of the most easiest, reliable transportations in Europe. And we were in the outskirts of main Amsterdam, so it took us about 20 minutes or so to get to the main area, and our first destination was breakfast. We decided to go to the Pancake bakery. That is something one of my friends suggested to her because they had been to Amsterdam before, and let me tell you that Pancake bakery is a must. It's such a cute little area to start with. You kind of have to go down a couple steps into the building to get to the actual restaurant, and there was a line when we got there, but it wasn't that bad because they were just opening, so we got really lucky. You can tell it's a pretty famous spot in the area. We walked through one of the main neighborhoods that's really like aesthetic, and one that you're really gonna find when you Google most sightseeable areas in Amsterdam or sightseeing in Amsterdam, stuff like that. And this one's called the Jordaan Neighborhood. It is so beautiful just to see, just to walk by. One of the things that's so cool about Amsterdam is that it has so much hidden history in it. We didn't even know it, but we were walking by the Anne Frank house. I'm not usually one who takes a stroll around the neighborhood or anything like that, but Amsterdam just has that vibe that just makes you want to walk everywhere. I guess that's why people bike here so much. We definitely stopped to take some pictures because it was such a beautiful morning. But then we finally made it to the Pancake bakery and it was so delicious. We honestly did not even know what to get because their menu was so extensive. They had so many options. I love how they just had this big tub of syrup next to us and it was so delicious. It was definitely nothing like I've tasted before. It was not really expensive at all. I think our sweet pancake was probably like 14 euro and the savory one was like 11 euro, and we just ended up splitting it. They also had like lots of drinks to offer, which were like 5 euro or less. We spent about like an hour or more just savoring the deliciousness of the pancakes. But once we left, once again we were just walking around and kept on stopping to take some pictures because it was so beautiful. There is this area that I don't know how to pronounce, and it's quite historical. It definitely pops out when you're searching places to visit in Amsterdam and stuff like that. So it's basically a medieval inner courtyard area where the women of the Catholic Sisterhood used to live. It's just open to public. We were able to walk in, just take a look around. It's actually kind of small, and we just crossed it off our checklist and kept on moving because there was actually not much to see. We then decided to go to their main shopping area, and it is so big. You just keep on walking and walking and walking for hours and ending up at countless stores. Then we got to Amsterdam's main shopping square. Like I mentioned, it was very lively, full of people, and yes, it was super cold, but the tall buildings definitely covered the wind. In this area there's also lots of souvenir shops and coffee shops, stuff like that, so we definitely like went in there and like wasted our money. After lots and lots of walking and snacking, getting some stroop waffles in the area, we went to this burger place that we had on our list because it was highly popular and recommended. It's called Lombardo's, and I think another thing I should have mentioned is that the way we like map the area around, mainly in all of my study abroad trip, was using this app called City Mapper. You basically just put the name of the place you want to go, double check the address if you like on Google or something, just to make sure you're going to the right place, and then I'll route you there, tell you how to get there through public transportation or sometimes just on foot. We ended up doing a lot of our transportation on foot just because Amsterdam's pretty small and we weren't really going from like one point of the city to another point. We were just walking through the little hallways of the city. And I just want to give you a little tour what the room looks like. Like I said, I paid about 20 euros for 2 nights. So I was actually really surprised that this room did come with a bathroom, because a lot of the times other hostels will just have a shared bathroom for the whole floor by gender. The restroom was definitely spacious and it was quite generous. It came with like a body wash and some hand soap. So as you can see, I don't know if you're familiar with university dorms, but it does kind of look like that. We ended up picking the bunk beds for ourselves, and there's no way of knowing if you are gonna have roommates, but most of the time you should just expect that you are. And at the bottom it had a drawer where you can lock up all your stuff, but let me tell you, I hated this one because it crushed my hand twice. It was really spacious where I was actually able to fit my full carry-on in there though. So the next morning we decided to go to Foodhallen. It's definitely such a tourist spot. It's basically a food court where there's a bunch of food posts. The most famous food from Amsterdam are definitely bitterballens. They're basically just like fried balls of meat, but the consistency of the meat inside is so different to have anything else I've had before. It's definitely not as hard, it's more squishy. I really don't know how to describe it. It's really unique. So for 6 bitterballens, I ended up paying around €5, I think. Sharon definitely hooked us up because the cooks at this dim sum place thought she was cute, so they gave us some free stuff. So in Amsterdam, you can definitely do a lot in very little amount of time. So we ended up walking most of the city and just sightseeing, and in 2 days we definitely covered everything. So in a way we did kind of run out of things to do, so we were just walking around, and the weather was actually not helpful. I know we could have done other things like ride some bikes, go on the ferry boat with actually good weather. If you do happen to go during any rainy season or winter weather, Doc Martens are lifesavers. You may not be like realizing where you're walking and there's a huge puddle, but no water will go in your shoes. I definitely wanted to get some brunch on our last day, so we decided to go to a place called Dignita. They seated us inside for the waiting area, so I was so glad we weren't outside because it was so cold, and they were able to still offer us drinks while we waited. We didn't really wait that long, even though I could tell it was busy. I ended up ordering like another set of pancakes and some hot chocolate, and it was really well put together. Like, just looking at it was so beautiful. And Sharon got some eggs benedict that they called Benny Boy on the menu. I would really suggest sharing plates with whoever you're with, because you just want to go ahead and try as many things as possible. Like, obviously I'm back here and I'm not able to try all those amazing foods. Since we kind of ran out of things to do and we didn't want to waste more money than we already had, like by going to museums and stuff like that, we decided to take a ferry to this area called NDSM. NDSM in Amsterdam. It's supposed to be like a very artistic area, very lively, but I'm guessing because of the weather or the time of the year, they just didn't have anything when we went there. It was still pretty nice to look at and I guess experience and imagine all the things that could actually go on there when there's more tourists in the area. But at last, we had to make our way back to Paris to continue our study abroad program. And it was time to say bye to Amsterdam, but I guess for not long, because I returned to Amsterdam 2 weeks after that. Overall, that was all my Amsterdam experience. I hope this helps plan your next trip. I'll have all the places, museums, and food restaurants we went to listed down below so that you can Google them and like look them up more if you're interested. I definitely have more videos coming up from London, Greece, and Germany. If you want to see more of my pictures, you can go on my Instagram account. I have story highlights of each place I went to so that you can see the streets as I'm walking through them. Thanks for hanging in there with my first video. I know this is kind of awkward for me still, but I'm looking forward to the next videos as well.